Hey, what's up, Buck fans? Welcome again to the Aftermath on 102.9 Game Broad Street South Radio. Unfortunately, your Bucks lost, but let's vent tonight and let's just break down what happened, what needs to be corrected, and what do you expect. So let's just get ready for another entertaining episode. Yeah, that was our reaction yesterday from that embarrassing debacle. What's up again, Buck fans? It's AJ Turn Up here with the Aftermath on 102.9 Game Broad Street South Radio. My co-host Slick, British guy, who's always fly, is actually on standby. He will be joining us momentarily. So as you can see, I've been able to calm down. As of yesterday, I was not in the best of places after that embarrassing shit show we saw. After getting a couple hours to myself, first of all, welcome into the new year for everybody. I hope 2024 is better for everyone in life, including the Bucks. Now, at the moment, let's just hope that they left that nasty shit back in 2023 and Sunday at 1 against the Panthers, they go in there and take care of business. But we're not even going to get to the Panthers first. That's later. We still have to go over what we saw and then what was explained behind the foolishness that we saw. Like, let's be real. Buck fans, you are still pissed off, and I don't blame you. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. Am I still like in the rah-rah stage? Not really. I'm more so of I'm not even surprised anymore. At this point, what I've said already what the Bucks need to do, and yet they mess up again. And this time, Buck fans, you have a right to be upset. Buck fans, you have a right to be disappointed. Buck fans, you have a right to be disgruntled. Buck fans, if you say for all the people out there who want to go back to the Fire and Bowls campaign, at this point, I don't blame you. What we saw was dog shit. Like The Rock would say, it's the biggest piece of dog shit. That's what we saw. It was dog shit. Again, you had a chance not only to win the NFC South, but to beat a common foe, which at this point, fuck Cam Jordan. He's always been fuck Cam Jordan. But when Saints try to tell you that this is not a rivalry, it doesn't mean anything, call bullshit on them. Because what happened when those fuckers won? They were in the locker room blasting music, celebrating as if they were going to the playoffs. Well, the joke's on you, on y'all dumbass taints. Because either way, if we win next week, that shit will be for nothing. So fuck y'all anyway. Fuck the Saints. But the whole point is, how come the Bucks fans had more intensity of saying fuck you to the Saints than the actual coaching staff? I'm not here to necessarily call out players. I really didn't see. I saw. Well, I didn't see what I want to see. One person that I do want to call out, if it's for a Buccaneer player, is Zion McCollum. You got to do better with your damn tackling. That tackling was piss poor. If you're going to be lunging out there, you need to be throwing your body and knocking these dudes down. Don't do that stupid ass shit that I saw earlier when you just having your arms out there and you're barely throwing your body into it. If you're going to make a tackle, make the tackle. You get paid way too much money for that. I don't care if it's the bare minimum. Whatever you make more than 90% of people out here in this country. And there's a lot of people waiting for your spot that will play for half of what you made. So McCollum, you were piss poor yesterday. But you were also put in a bad position. Again, this is the Saints we can't stand this team. They're a dirty ass organization, as you can see with Tyrann Mathieu with that dirty ass hit on Baker. We are not surprised from this organization. So, which is what pissed us off is Bowles. You had a chance to show us that you are ready to take that next step in putting teams away. We saw that when we played the where was the intensity in the aggressiveness, the assertive, and most importantly, the confidence in your men that we had for the past 4 games, but for the past 2 games, we showed up and showed out, especially on offense. What happened? Why did you go back? These are questions that we want to know. Did you already look ahead to next week? Were you that unprepared? What did I tell you, Buck fans, about the Saints? Did I not say on the Bucs pregame show that you should watch? I told you the first quarter and a half, the Saints were going to give everything that they have because they don't like us, because this is a rivalry. This is a team that we are a team that they cannot stand. That's why every time we get beat by them, what do the Saints do? They stunt. They get in there, they get on their damn in the locker room, and they do their little stanky leg dances. And they always try to mock the Bucs. So it's a rivalry. I don't care what Cam's punk ass got to say. But again, the good thing for you Buck fans out there, if you want to feel better and you still want to shit on the Saints, we win next week. Again, we can just say, hey, Saints, you got us on an off day, whatever. Sit your ass home. Cam, no Super Bowl for you. But what happened, Bowles? And then the excuses today. Well, the coaches got to do better. That means you. At the end of the day, Bowles, it starts with you. It starts with you. You are the head coach. You are the head. Pause. But you are the leader amongst men. It is your job to be prepared. It is your job to go in there and have the mindset and intensity. You asked Buck fans to be loud in the stadiums, or we were loud in the stadiums with boos, and as we should, for that piss poor performance we had. It started out bad. I told people when we was at the bar in Arlington Rooftop, which if you're a local Buck fans in the DMV area, check it out. Arlington Rooftop. The first drive, again, Bowles, cushion coverage doesn't work, man. I don't think you realize. I don't know why you don't realize that. And I have questions now. If your biggest thing is, well, they're worse and I'm scared that they're going to get beat deep, then you don't deserve to be a head coach, because at that point you fear another team more than then you should have confidence in your own guys. But as you see, every time, Buck fans, when we allow teams to march down the field, that's what can happen. The bend break mentality does not work anymore because we don't have the 2020 defense. We don't have Ndamukong Suh. We don't have JPP. We didn't even have Shaq Barrett in there. And JTS and Nelson, they really didn't do anything to help. Like, shit was not going well. So I don't understand why you insist on doing that when it doesn't help and serve your defense. I'd rather McCullum go out there and play man and Dean play man. And if they get beat off the line, then they get beat off the line. So be it. It happens. Then you can go back and adjust that way. But stop always trying to adjust when it's damn near too late. When they got up on that second score, 14-0, I was gone already. And what frustrated me is I don't like to yell when I know that the outcome is not going to help. At least when I was yelling the past couple of weeks, it looks as if the Bucs were trying to find a way. But this was a game that was just completely lost. And like I said, the defense set the tone the bad way. There was I didn't see no intensity. This is your rival. We cannot stand the Taints. So why didn't you go out there with the fuck you mentality that we should have had? Has it occurred to you that every time when the Saints play us, they are aggressive, they are assertive, they are mean, they're nasty, they're dirty? You have, as someone who is coached and someone who is giving advice to players, you match that energy and then some. And if anything, take it to the next level. And I'm never here to condone dirty or cheap shots, but if they hit one of our men, you have to send a message back and say, you know what? Keep doing that shit. We're going to put you on your ass. We're going to put your boy on his ass. Don't play with us. We didn't have that mentality. They just ran all over us. They short passed. But why? Because of the cushion coverage. Let me tell you guys, because I have people who still give me shit for this. Let me tell you something. Cushion coverage will be, I will decimate your cushion coverage every day. If you give me cushion coverage and I got a chance to be an offensive coordinator, I can tell you this: the first 5 possessions, I'm scoring not 3 points, 7 points each time. Because I'm just gonna, and here's the thing: by the time each drive, I'm gonna knock off at least 4 to 5 minutes apiece. So shit, by the time the next half come, you'll be down 35-0. That's how much I despise cushion coverage. Cushion coverage should only be used when it's if over 3rd and 15. Anything under, hell, it could be 3rd and 13. I'm not comfortable with cushion coverage. If we're gonna do cushion coverage, we're gonna keep it at least 2 to 5 yards. Now, I've spoken a lot. We're gonna bring in one of our first guests tonight. This guy is always a pleasure to talk to. He knows his thing, and my man, I owe him a great apology again because he told me a guy was gonna be good on the line, and he has shown up and showed out, and he talks a lot of shit, and we love it, and that's Gedeke. But let's bring on one of our biggest guys right here. Let's go, JT Olsen. How you doing, JT? Ooh,
I'm doing great. How's everyone else doing?
We're trying, man. Look, you got a Michigan. You coming in here with that Michigan stuff on?
Oh yeah, I'm from Michigan. I grew up 30 minutes from Detroit.
That's right, man. Look, so everything's going right now. Hey, didn't Detroit Pistons get a win?
Yeah, now they're like 3-25. They're on a hot streak.
My Lord, you never know. They might go on their own 4-game winning streak and then just fuck around and crap the bed again.
It usually goes like that. You're bad, and then out of nowhere for no reason, you win. It just doesn't make sense.
Is that what was our situation? Because I can just tell you right now this was me yesterday, JT. I'm just gonna I have to be. This was me. Shit. Yeah. That was me. Fortunately, though, I was able to contain myself where I didn't throw anything. But that was me the moment that Bull did that cushion coverage. What happened?
I just felt like everything was bad. The team came out flat. Canales didn't have a great game. Baker didn't have a great game. They got pushed around a little bit up front. Just everything about this game was bad. There is no silver lining I took away from it.
I disagree. There, you know what the one silver lining is, and the Glazers are going to be happy about this. Baker at least coughed up an extra $15 million from him asking for more money. If I'm the Glazers right now, I could be like, yes, and welcome Slick. But Slick made a great theory on how the Bucs should handle Baker, and it looks like it's coming in fruition because our buddy Slick is here. Can you please enlighten us and remind us what you said you would do if you were the GM about Baker?
I can't remember what I said. I've seen so many things I forget.
Okay, look, guys, I'm not going to try to butcher this, but he said this, JT, and let's see if you agree. He said he would franchise tag.
Yes,
Baker.
I remember
give him one more year to prove himself. Now, after yesterday's debacle, JT, does that sound reasonable?
I definitely want him to keep proving himself. I don't want any kind of long-term extension, even if he balls out in this last game and we go on, a little run in the playoffs. Maybe we win a game or maybe we lose and he just plays well. I don't want anything more than 2 or 3 years maximum, and that 3rd year being like a team option.
I mean, with the mouths that they've got to feed, and it's like, who you going to keep? And we've seen this with other teams where Geno Smith's an example, Daniel Jones is an example, where there was, and Daniel Jones is the perfect example because they had the running back as well. They had Saquon Barkley, and they went, you know what? We won't extend Saquon Barkley, even though he can't fuck all against the cap because he's a running back. His percentage hit on a year on year out is what, maximum 18 million if he's really, 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 really good. But instead they decide to extend a guy 35 million a year. That just makes no sense. A guy who's inconsistent. The only thing that's going to hold Saquon Barkley back So I'd rather overpay on a running back who's only going to overpaying on a running back by 1 or 2 million is not going to break the bank. Overpaying on a quarterback when you're paying 35 million a year and you can't get out after 3 years, you've got to wait 3 years to get rid of. You're going to struggle there. And that's why I said we got a safety. He's going to command between 16 to 18 million. It's going to be in that ballpark of a top 5 safety. You extend that guy because you know you've had 4 years of great play. You know the worst case scenario, you're going to get rookie version of, and you're not going to get that, but you're going to get rookie version. We said the worst case scenario you get with Antoine Winfield Jr. It should only trend up. Now it can always trend down, but overpay on a safety by $1 million or so is nothing than overpaying on a quarterback for years.
And that speaks volumes, Slick. The same you just said, his worst season as a rookie, but that same year he got a Super Bowl and he made a key play.
He was very good. He was a very good player. He just wasn't elite yet.
I'll take that. Whoa, wait. Oh, we got a full staff. Wait a minute. Hold on. I think dude is gonna he's gonna make his presence known. But thank you, Slick. That's why I think what you said was brilliant though about Baker. But that's why I say, JT, that is the only silver lining. If I'm the Glazers, I'm like, oh yeah. Baker, don't even think about demanding shit after that piss poor stuff. But one thing that I do want to ask you this, JT. If you are the Glazers right now, I would be in a position. Do you think they should oversee? Damn, talking to Jason Light, but would you directly call Bowles and say, "Look, I hope you are aware that your job isn't 100% safe yet. You need to get your shit together. You lose in Carolina, you're done."
Yeah, it's kind of all on the line for everyone tomorrow. It is Todd Bowles' career in the Bucs on the line. It is the playoff hopes on the line. And I think Jason Light probably knows that too, because we knew the talent we had on this roster coming into the season. I know nationally they didn't know it because it was, 2-16 for the Bucs, or top 5 draft pick for the Bucs. But we here knew what this defense was, what these playmakers were. So the expectation was winning the division. So, yeah, I think if they fall short of that, it's very fair to expect Todd Bowles to lose his job. And I think everyone should know that.
Gotcha. Okay. And we got we have a lot of guests that are patiently waiting and need to get on. So we want to make that happen. So let's get one of our other guys, another member here. He's on Bucs Live. Check him out every Tuesday nights at 9. But of course tonight he's with us. But let's bring him on. Let's get our guy. What's up, Rick?
Hey! How are you?
I'm good. A little better. We're still here talking about how the Bucs, they fumbled and Buck fans today are still in the right. This was not, in my opinion, JT. That wasn't a bad day. That was just, as you stated, an inexcusable loss.
It's not that. It was a clusterfuck from the beginning. It was just, oh my god, we were really bad. We were really bad. But it's something that we can pick up on. We've seen teams do this before. Look at the Eagles right now; they can barely win a game. So it's not all over. It's just it happened to someone we didn't want. If there's one team you said you don't want to lose to this year, if we only had 2 wins, it had to be against the Saints. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Someone said, "I'm only going to give you 2 wins. Can you please make them against the Saints? I don't care about anyone else. Just give them against the Saints."
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a hat and feature game. You get to put that hat on, that crown, right in front of their faces. It would have been a nice moment, but the NFL script writers are obviously against us.
Oh, absolutely. That was Hey, look, after Dallas and Detroit, nothing is out of the question. I know this is for shits and giggles, but somebody said, "Hey, guys, as Buck fans, you're still going to the playoffs anyway, so we just need to get this last rating in." And look, watch next week. All of a sudden, the run game will be better. Godwin will get his 1,000 yards. Rashad White will get his 1,000 rushing yards. So it'll look at this. But at this point on Sunday, just speaking of it again, and hearing the commentary that Bowles was stating and why they were scared of Olive and them going deep, I'm just sitting back like, okay, Bowles, you're back to this shit again. We're back to October 19th bowls. We got to do better. The coaches got to be more aggressive. Why didn't you learn that already? This is week 17, man. I just got a lot of questions. Canales, piss poor. When he started running the ball in the first quarter, the first time, JT and all the fellas, I just said, "Oh, we're back to week 3, Buccaneers." Oof. I was through. I was disgusted.
Yeah, I'm more patient with the run game than a lot of people, but it really felt like he stuck with it longer than he should have in this one. You know, you're down 20 points, you're down 17 at the half. You got to come out with more tempo. You got to come out with more, quick hitters, get something in rhythm with your passing game. You can't abandon the run completely, but you can't be, 2nd and 13 and trying to, establish that run game in the second half. It's no bueno.
Well, I get it when they say we're going to be stubborn about the run. I can appreciate that. But when it's 17-0,
and you've barely done anything, like you don't even know what their half. You don't know what their half looks like at this point of the game, I believe.
Right.
No, we had that one where we threw the interception, so we had sniffed a little bit.
Right. Now I don't get as wound up. You guys know this. I don't get as ticked off, and I don't whatever. I tend to. Okay, the game's over. That sucked. Now what do we have to do, or what's next? I don't tend to. I don't know. That's not how my brain works.
You don't dwell on it.
Well, right. That's not how my brain works. I mean, I look at it and I say, all right, here's where we're at. What do we have to do next? And I've seen, I don't know how many posts where people are mentioning how Bowles said, we're not gonna, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but my cats are scrapping.
No, you're good. But...
Okay. But Bowles said, yeah, we wouldn't have beaten any other pro team, college team, or high school team. And everybody was posting this and reposting that quote as if, well, yeah, see, that shouldn't happen. That just shows. What does it show? Do you think there's a high school team or college team in America?
Accountability, because we always say he has no passion. So that was him being passionate. There were a couple of times in that game he was physically pissed off. You could see he was not a happy bunny.
Correct.
So if you want him to, everyone wants to show him. If Bruce Arians would have said that exact quote, we'd all be laughing and go, "He's got him right. He's right. Absolutely right. He's fucking right."
Right.
That's what he's been saying.
Right. And when Bowles says it, people are like, you see? And it's like, come on, man. It's not literal. There's not a high school, college team that's going to beat the Buccaneers. They had a bad day. That was his point. He's speaking metaphorically, or whatever the right word is. I don't know. And everybody just, this is the problem right now, is the haters. Yeah. Everybody chooses a side. How about everything? Everything. Coke or Pepsi, Mac or PC, iPhone or Android, Winston or, I don't know, whatever, whoever, anyone else.
Magic. That was a big debate, wasn't it, for a while?
Right. Winston or Fitzmagic. Then it's
Pascal Baker.
Right. And it's just, and no matter what happens, you stake this position, and come hell or high water. Okay, the Bucs went through a 4-game losing streak. You were anti-Bowles. They go on a 4-game winning streak. Yeah, well, look who they won. Look who they beat. They didn't beat any winning teams. This is the stuff that drives me nuts.
We couldn't do that for years. People forget the 2007 to 2019 years. That's almost like that's been erased.
Exactly. We would kill
to be in the
year like that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it just shows, basically, tell me you haven't been a Bucs fan for long without telling me you haven't been a Bucs fan for long. That's a fact. It is, if you're not looking at this year going, man, this is one of the best years we've had, you're new around here. It's the truth, because we've had a couple of good years in a row, and that's all you know. This is Holy crap, guys. We win this week. We're in the playoffs with a winning record. We've improved while we got rid of basically all of our salary cap issues in 1 year. We decided to eat it all in 1 year. Okay, so we did all of that. And people are like, oh, the coach sucks. Baker sucks. I can tell you. I mean, guys, get ready. If you don't like Baker, settle in because I really think he's coming back. I mean, they've got a lot of salary cap space, and they're going to get it done with Winfield. They're going to get out. This is the crap we hear every year. Oh, my God. Remember a few years ago? Oh, my God. How are they going to sign any of these guys? They don't have enough. And they signed every freaking one of them. And, I mean,
yes,
they're going to do it again. Just stop worrying about it. They're going to be fine. Mike Greenberg or whatever his name is, and Jason Light, they're going to get the guys back that need to be back. We're going to be fine. And all the vitriol and all this other crap. Listen, man, the Saints game's over. And like I said, I think I said it on the post-game show with you guys. What did we do in week 17 last year? I think we won. I'm not sure who we beat. What did we do 2 years ago in week?
We beat the Panthers.
What did we do 2 years ago in week 17?
Scrape against the Jets.
The Jets, yeah.
Yeah. Who cares? This is my point. Who cares what we did in week 17? I mean, nobody's going to care. We're going to look back at this game and go, yeah, that game sucked. But we came back. Sure. If we come back, beat the Panthers by 30, all this, see, I told you about bowls. It's all over. It's all done. And now we're back in the playoffs again. You know, he's...
The difference, I know what you're trying to say, but again, the way that you're talking now, Rick, it sort of sounds like the way that Bowles and Canales came out against the Saints. Oh, well, we got this. But
I'm not saying we got this. We got to come out and do it.
No, I get that, but again, I know what you're saying, but with the debacle and the way that they came out, this Panthers team, of course, they're not a good team, but
I live here. I know how bad they are.
Yeah, they're a bad team. We all know.
They're not bad. They're like, they're horrifying.
They are horrifying, but this is where, again, Bowles still. Slick mentioned Arians. Arians has the accolades and he has a lot of more things and clout. Where if he does say that, we would chuckle. But for a guy like Bowles and JT, you can address to this. It's like him and Canales. They'll take one step forward, but then 2 steps backward.
What was Arians' accolades before he got to the Bucs?
Like the QB whisper. He was helping.
Accolades, not nicknames.
Arians was a 2-time coach of the year.
And here he is, the dude with the shades, and the dude is not afraid to be rude or crude. What's up?
Happy fucking New Year, everybody. I wanted to make sure we got our F-bomb quota in for the first half hour of the show. This first half hour of the show is brought to you by horrible officiating. If you want horrible officiating, go to NFL anytime, day or night. You'll find it. Before I touch on what Rick was saying, and by the way, Rick, Arians had actually more accolades except the Super Bowl before he got to Tampa than he did being in Tampa.
I do think he was more successful, but he didn't have all these accolades.
The only accolade he got in Tampa that he didn't already have was the Super Bowl title. That's it.
Kind of.
That's right.
He didn't win coach of the year here. Right. He won it twice before he got here. Right. He's also by the quarterback's words themselves had a huge impact on developing Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning. Actually, I can stop there. But wait, I've got something I want to talk about with what's going on the boob tube today. How pissed off are you as a media outlet if you asked for credentials for the fucking Rose Bowl today and they said, oh, we just gave away the last one to Kirk Herbstreit's fucking dog? Fuck you, ESPN. You're a 4-letter network for a fucking reason. Seriously, think about this for a second. There is somebody out here like you guys are who have ground their way to the point of being able to apply for credentials for a college football playoff game. And they're like, we only need one. Oh, well, we hate to inform you and regret that our decision has been to give it to a fucking dog instead of somebody who's actually going to put out content. Now, with all that said, there is some underlying deep animosity on my behalf towards Kirk Herbstreit that didn't start this year. Kirk Herbstreit is the guy, and this drives me crazy. From Brock Osweiler to Dan Orlovsky to Kirk Herbstreit, how is it that college football and NFL football have put out numerous amounts of legendary quarterbacks with phenomenal stats and resumes, but the people we have on these networks talking about quarterback play literally have a losing record, literally have thrown more interceptions than touchdowns, literally didn't make it in the league. Hey, Dan Orlovsky, the only reason people in Tampa knew who you were before you got on NFL Network is you're the dumbass that ran out of the back of the end zone in the middle of a game because you didn't know where you were on the field. So excuse me if I don't listen to your fucking high expertise analysis on quarterback fucking awareness in the pocket. You ran out the back of the fucking end zone, dude.
I think you need to find a snippet of where he said something like that and then play him running out of the back of the pocket. Awareness brought to you by the guy who has no fucking clue where the pocket is.
Yeah, it's amazing. And dude, you're right. It's amazing about how some of these guys, some of these players will get on there, and it was like, you weren't even that good. You were not that good. But I want to go back, like you said, to your accolades too about Arians. Rick, he also had a squad back when Honey Badger was actually worth talking about. Didn't he have?
Can you hear me now?
I'm not trying to say that Bruce Arians never did anything great. But the Bruce Arians real, when it comes to accolades, I get it. He had Coach of the Year prior to coming to Tampa. I get that. He had a good reputation. But the accolades, it happened in Tampa. Okay, it did with the Super Bowl. I mean, in one breath you're sitting there saying, "Oh, all these guys who didn't do anything," and the next breath you're saying, people talk nicely about him.
Well, his overall record as a coach when he was with the Cardinals is 50-32-1.
Yeah, I'm not saying he wasn't a good coach.
Right, but
I'm not saying that.
Right, but the point is, Rick, though, that I want to say is why Buck fans they're not taking Bowles serious is because, of course, and fair or not, they're looking at his track record. They're looking at the things that he has done, and especially when he's with us. As we just stated, the past 4 games, we were increasing, and we were saying, okay, Bowles have you turned the corner. He was the team was a whole different animal in Green Bay and against Jacksonville,
and we lost a game.
But what happened? But it's the way we lost that pisses Buck fans off.
We had a bad freaking game.
No, that's more than a bad game, Rick. That's a shit show. You come out and you lose like that. It'd be different if, and anybody else can interject. If the Bucks only lose by 3 to like a field goal and it was a fight on both sides, nobody cares. But when you come out that flat, they had the nerve to ask us to be loud. Trey Palmer tweeted, "I woke up pissed off," and then he's the same guy who catches a pass and then fumbles. You see what I'm saying? And then, as Slick said, and JT said, you're running in the third quarter, and then what happens? Rachaad White fumbles. It's just, it looks at the end of the day, that's not just a bad game. That it's like, okay, what are you gonna do now? It was inexcusable.
No, right there. Okay, what are you gonna do now? Yes,
The fucking
but
division.
it's so much about look what you've done, look what you've done, look what you've done. Look at that game, that game, that game. What about the 4 previous games? Look at that game. Look at
Well,
the
wait a
bad
minute,
one.
wait a
Look
minute,
at
wait
the
a minute,
bad
wait a
one.
minute, wait a minute. You can flip that around and say, why are we only focused on the 4-game win streak? Here's where we're no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. The NFL attracts a wide variety of people. With that comes a wide variety of points of view. With a wide variety of points of view comes a wide variety of personality. With a wide variety of personality comes a wide variety of ways that you do and don't enjoy the experience. Some people like to watch soap operas all day because of the up and down roller coaster and the emotional ride. Some people like to watch shows that they already know what's going to happen, like your typical sitcom, that there's going to be a problem at the beginning of the show. 2 commercial breaks later, they're going to resolve it. Some people want to stay positive in spite or despite, however you want to put it, of what's happening in front of their face. Here's the problem Buccaneer fans have struggled with for as long as I can remember. You either have your Tony Dungy style fans, and there's nothing wrong with that I don't give a shit how we won, it was ugly. Or you have your John Gruden / Bruce Arian fans who are like, I don't want to win. I want to destroy their souls and take away their manhood. And here's the thing. Both are fine. Both are okay. Both are acceptable. Do you know why? Because we all stand on our own 2 feet. We all close our eyes and go to sleep at night in our own beds, not with each other, because we're not connected. For everybody to agree on everything would be stupid, if not boring. So with that said, if somebody wants to overreact or underreact, that's their prerogative. There's no right or wrong way to be a fan, except if you're the douchebags at the Ice Palace in Tampa who wear a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey 60 games, but when the Rangers come to town, you wear a Rangers jersey. That's doing fanhood wrong, you stupid ass. But that's a whole nother sport, whole nother topic. What we have here is a team that plays, call it what you want. The record says with math, they're mediocre. So mediocre, what the fuck is that? They're mediocre because they're 8-8. 8 wins, 8 losses. You can't call them winners. You can't call them losers. That's how the majority of the NFL is, by design. The NFL has tried for 30 years to have this competitive balance to where there's not 3 teams or 4 teams that run away with it every year and everybody else sucks. So the NFL is getting what they want. And when someone like AJ goes on and says what he says, the NFL is getting what they want. When somebody goes online like Rick and says what he says, the NFL is getting what they want. So we're giving them what they want. They're giving us what we want. Let's watch it. And if you want to have some hyperbole in how you watch it and overreact or underreact, depending on your point of view, sure. All that said, the Buccaneers had the table set for them. At home, division rival on a 4-game win streak, basically a national audience, because I don't think anybody was really watching the Jaguars game. But and they came out flat. To say they didn't come out flat is just denying reality that played out in front of our face. But the Buccaneers have made a living out of doing that. The Buccaneers have made a living out of coming out, stepping on their toes a couple times, finally getting it together in the second half or at halftime and making adjustments. The problem is, I think, with a good portion of the fan base, a lot of people don't believe at their heart that Bowles deserved the starting or the coaching job in the first place. So that is viewed through the lens of, I don't think he belongs here. I don't think he legitimately earned a job. There was probably somebody better. So everybody will be hypercritical that way. Now, the flip side of that is, you might say, well, Todd Bowles has got one of the best defenses. He was in charge of the defense when they won the Super Bowl. Of course, he's the right candidate. They kept it in-house. They kept blah, blah, blah. That point of view is valid too. I guess what I'm saying here is this is one of those circumstances, like in life, where 2 things can be true. And if one thing being true upsets what you think is true, aren't you just diminishing what he's saying no different than they're diminishing what you're saying? Or aren't you upsetting them the same way that their comments upset you? So here's what I'm trying to say. Everybody sit back. We've got a week to build up for the Panthers. Winning, you're in. Losing, you go home. Is it going to be the coach's fault if they lose? Ultimately, yes. That's where the buck stops. If Baker Mayfield goes out and throws 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 400 yards, Rashad runs for 120, Evans and Godwin both get 100 yards, we also have to credit the coaches for that. So if one of us is only criticizing and another one of us is only supporting and being positive, that comes off as fake. Right. If you're able to go both ways on both subjects, that comes off as a genuine article. And I think that's what everybody's looking for. So I'll point it out to like this. Everything doesn't have to be an us or me versus us or them. Everything doesn't have to be thrown back in our face because somebody said something. Perfect example. I know a lot of people when Lamar Jackson came out of college that didn't think he would be a good enough NFL quarterback. So they said, of course, he seems like he's better at running the ball than throwing. That was what, 5 years ago?
Yes.
Now, when Lamar Jackson has a game like he did yesterday and he kicks ass, here comes the people throwing something up in people's face from 5 years ago. Dude, there's a statute of limitation on crimes. Can there be a statute of limitations on that shit too? My point is we get it. Lamar Jackson's obviously a good quarterback. He got the contract extension. He's got an MVP. He's got them poised to go to the Super Bowl. But going back and digging up that from 5 years ago just to say, I don't even know what. Yeah, we all agree. He pulled through. We all agree he turned out to be a great quarterback. That doesn't mean that when people were criticizing him coming out of college, they were wrong. They're allowed to have their opinion. Like Daddy said, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one and they all suck, depending on your perspective. Now, JT, we always appreciate you here, brother. And don't worry, that Tristan Wirfs jersey is coming. Hey, everybody, he's got a Tristan Wirfs jersey coming. You guys, neither one of you guys got one of those. And honestly, at this point, him and Winfield Jr. are the only ones I can guarantee you they're going to extend. Oh, no, Slick, he paid for his jersey. I didn't buy him no jersey. What, you think I'm rich?
Me.
All that said, I understand where Rick's coming from. I, too, have struggled since 1976. You guys talk, and I'm not saying this directed at any of the people on screen. I'm saying in general. You guys who talk about the rough years from, I don't know, early 2010s, y'all don't know rough, bro. Okay? You all don't know what rough is. Rough is going 12 seasons in a row with double-digit losses. 12. Not a decade plus 2 babies, right? Okay? That's struggling. And here's the thing. I yelled at my TV. I yelled at the players. But when they won, I loved my TV and I loved the players. That's part of going for the ride of fans. But when that happened, I was also younger. So the older generation gets involved in this and they're like, I don't have the energy to go up and down, up and down, up and down my emotions. So I'm just going to stick and go even keel and go right down the middle. And what happens because I can't control it. And I get that too. But if you don't get upset or excited when they do bad or good, what are you doing? Why are you watching? Go watch paint dry. I mean,
I get excited when they.
Oh no, that wasn't directed at you.
No, I know you weren't. I'm almost identifying with your thing about when you get older. I think you're right. When you get older, I'm older. When you get older, yeah, man, they lost. Okay, they lost. You know, I'm not gonna let this ruin my week or.
Well, here's the thing. What makes winning so good?
Well, I'm losing.
Not losing.
I've been through losing so many years of it. Right.
Right. Not losing. So, with that said, again, the Buccaneers are 8-8. Do I think they could have more wins? Sure. But you know what? I also preseason thought that 8 wins was the ceiling for this team. And now they have a chance to go to 9 wins, make the playoffs, 3rd division in a row. That's all good. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I told Rick this earlier when I talked to him off the show here. If they come out Sunday and they lose to the Carolina Panthers, If y'all don't watch wrestling, I'm a Seth Rollins this shit and burn it the fuck down because, okay. Yes, we beat the Panthers before, as Rick mentioned, only by 3 at home.
That's not a given. It's not a fucking given.
Okay.
No, it's not a given at all.
But if you let a quarterback who can't ride all the rides at Disney beat you when you have the playoffs in front of you, when you have the division championship in front of you, when you have a home playoff game on the line, and if you travel to Carolina and you lay an egg, I expect, and I'm sure the players and coaches and everybody else does too, I expect roasting, I expect ribbing, I expect trolling, I expect hyperbole. Our guy over there at Cannon Crunch, Devin, I expect his head to completely fucking explode and melt down on Twitter. And that is part of what we love about these guys. If everybody, and this might sound like a shot at Rick, but me and Rick are very similar. If me and Rick just came on and said, all is great every show, nobody would tune in.
Right.
But it's the flavor up in the upper left-hand corner. It's the steady hand in the middle. It's JT at the bottom wanting to overreact, but it's really not his personality, so he just grumbles to himself a lot. It's all those ingredients.
He loses his mind.
Exactly. It's all those ingredients that makes a fan base. Put it this way. Do you think the Oakland Raiders black hole is always fucking happy?
Nope.
No.
Do you think the dog pound has ever been happy?
Nope.
This year, maybe, right?
Or the 60s.
So
happiest in a long time, yeah.
Here's where we're at. Again, we're not a losing team right now. We're not a winning team. We're right there. We're standing on the edge. The next step will determine whether the Bucs are looked at in 2023 as winners or losers. And let's be honest, if they go to Carolina and get their asses handed to them, there's also some major decisions coming from the Glazers down to Jason Light that are going to either really upset or really make some people happy. But with all that said, do you know what today is? Today is New Year's Day. And on New Year's Day, we all look forward to what we're going to do the next year that we know in the back of our mind we're not even going to do, right? So make your New Year's resolutions, enjoy your football, enjoy what you do. Realize that another day on the earth, another year around the sun is a good thing. And we are still basking in the light of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl, watching the Buccaneers become the national focus in professional football. That in of itself is worth all the crap we go through day in and day out. And that, my friend, is why people like me and Rick made it through the 80s and early 90s. That's why you guys made it through the 2010s, because we know at some point it's going to click, the confetti's going to fall, and we're going to be able to say, nobody at this point today is better than us. That's what we're hoping for. That's what I want for the Buccaneers. And that's what I want for the Aftermath, which you are watching live on Bucs Report across all the social media platforms. If you don't know who you're talking to, look at their names on the screen, reach out to them on Twitter. And if you want to piss off Rick, just tweet at him overreacting hyperbole all fucking game. And trust me, your reactions on Twitter, your impressions will go sky high because Rick will not hold back. Rick, as always, we thank you for everything you do. JT, you're the man. Get that damn keys to the Skeleton Key article in, would you, please? I love you. Slick, we don't call you Coach Slick because there's no reason to. Coach, Captain, my captain, the United Kingdom, the only Bucs fan from the United Kingdom that actually talks to us, which we like. Bucs UK, shout out. That was a hint. And then AJ. Hey, if you follow AJ on social media, and whether you agree or not or like it or not, if you don't get, wait for it, turned up, you're not paying attention. So check out AJ, check out Slick, check out Rick, Tuesday nights, check out the Creamsicle Chronicles, come to bucksreport.com and click on the website so I can pay my fucking bills. The dude is out.
God bless him. But yeah, I'll tell you what.
That was a congressional speech, and then he just said, over and out. Go ahead,
I
dude.
want to piggyback on something that Rick said about they we took our coach, and there were people arguing about. Oh, so it wasn't what Rick said; it was what the dude said about how we took our coach and we kept it in house, but we didn't really go looking for a coach. And I was just wondering if anyone had a coach in their mindset that we're going, oh, that would have been the perfect coach. And I'm looking at them now, and I'm like, I do not want any of these guys on my team.
No,
Well, and let me touch on something else he said. Yeah, man, I admit it. I'm old, and I don't. Okay, we lost the game, but this is football. You know, I mean, I watch it for entertainment. I watch it because I love it. I watch this team because I love this team. I'm a fan of this team because I love this team. I still have hope. I'm going to spend my time focusing on the hope. Yeah, listen, man, I saw what the heck are you running the ball for when you're down 17-0? Why are you running up the gut? I get it. I saw yeah, man, it was not a good game. It sucked. It sucked. It was hard to watch. It was brutal.
Yes.
But I can sit and watch that and be like, spend all my time basking in that negative of what everybody's doing wrong, and Baker could be better and everybody could be better. And I can just sit there and focus on that. But man, it's a lot more fun to focus on the positive that we got playoffs coming, and hell, man, now it might be Philly who can't win anything. I mean, so I'm sorry. I am not trying to say all is peachy and wonderful. Yeah. I'm not. I'm trying to say, dude, this is a hard year with the salary cap. This is a hard year where you've got a $4 million journeyman quarterback that you brought in just to stick your finger in the leaking dike. This is a year we're supposed to really suck. We're playing for the division this week.
Yeah, you're right.
We're playing for the playoffs this week. I'm sorry. I know it's not Tom Brady. We're not winning by 30 every week. We're not, I get it, but we're not that team. Okay. We are where we are. And for where we are, this is why I like bowls. For the situation we are in, underline that. Okay. We're doing pretty freaking good. And I mean, we're doing better. We were predicted to win 3-4 games by a lot of people. I know the fans here, we predicted more. All right.
Because we have a higher expectation, because our expectation has been higher, and we do see the talent that's available.
And hope and all of those things during the offseason when we haven't lost a game yet and everything's great. And of course, at that point, we're going to see things better.
And football doesn't work the way that I think a lot of us, we'll sit there at the beginning of the season, right? And I think everyone in this room has probably done it. We've gone through roster's better than theirs. Roster's better than theirs. Now roster's not as good as theirs. And we go, okay, if I look at it from this perspective, which is the logical point of view, I've given myself 10 wins. Okay, so I think middling scenario is we'll get 10 wins. I do think we could go either way on that. So we could end up 8 or we could go up to 12. And that's when you kind of build a season in your mind. Now, we know football in the real world doesn't work like that, because there are shit teams that beat a good team, and there are good teams that actually destroy other good teams.
Yeah, a perfect example is Miami. I think Miami really thought that they were going to go in there and be the upsetters against the Ravens, and the Ravens just said, nah, we got this. The Ravens clearly just said, you guys are no match. But I think right now, and I'll let JT get in because he hasn't talked in a while, but I think the reason that
he's just basking right now in that. He can't be negative. His team just won a game.
And that was a beautiful win. That was a beautiful win. That was awesome.
Third time's the charm. It only took 2 embarrassing playoff losses.
Right. And Rick, I think the good thing about stuff like this, when we go back and forth, we're also like the dude said, we're doing what the NFL wants, but also this, in a way, when we check the coaches and stuff, this, in a way, I like it because, as you said, we can all say this in JT, somebody in that organization is watching It ain't necessarily just us, but they're watching what their Bucs are being told about, and that can hold them to a certain accountability. Because here's why I say that. When we talk about that, I bet you more than likely, hopefully, of course, Bowles has the I don't give a shit mentality, but some part of him is probably like, yeah, we can't do this again. And I hope you are right, Rick. I hope Bowles has your mindset at this point said, ooh, that was a bad game. We won't do that shit in Carolina. I want him to go into Carolina. That's why I said if they go in there and they beat the brakes off Carolina, which we all can agree are a shitty team. It's not a gimme, but if we go in there and take care of business, you're right, Rick. Nobody will care. Let's say if the Bucs win 37-0. You're right, Rick. Nobody's going to care about the Saints. They're going to be like, hey, Bucs in the playoffs.
Yeah,
right, but then I had to sit here for a week. Then I had to sit here for a week and just hear all this. Oh, the sky is falling.
I think this is just a natural reaction, though, Rick. I think some people. I can guarantee you, if I spoke to AJ on Saturday and we did a show on Saturday, he'd be like, "I'm primed, I'm ready to go," because you got to get it out of your system. And I think I know how AJ works. AJ's a little bit more different to me. I'm a bit of you in it as well, and I think it makes perfect shows because. Having us all disagree. There have been times. How many times have you come on show and you pointed out a fact or pointed out something you feel strongly about, and we're like, "Oh yeah, that's really good." And then AJ will say, AJ said things where I've gone, you know what? I was on this thought process. I'm now with you on this thought process, and I've said things, and that's what makes it so good is that we can debate with each other, but we respect each other's opinions enough that we actually listen to each other and go, you know, there's a bit of wisdom behind what he's saying, and. Yeah, the sky isn't falling. We know that, but we just lost a game to a team that we don't want to lose. So we're a bit banging our fists and we're a bit annoyed about it. And then we'll get to Friday and we're like, "Fuck the Panthers."
I don't know. I'm old. Like
I know, dude.
I'm old, and it's like, okay, we lost. Yes, that sucked. And 5 minutes after the game, I gotta go back to work. You know,
absolutely. My wife said the worst she's seen me get shitty over a loss. She says there was a point where I wanted to walk out the room because you were so angry at the TV, and you don't get angry. My wife was like, "You do not get that angry." I was literally saying, "We are fucking shit right now. We are so fucking shit. We couldn't fucking stop a fucking nosebleed right now." And my daughter was sat next to me going. She's 8 years old and her dad's there cussing at the TV going, "I fucking had enough. I would turn this shit off if I didn't love this team so fucking much." And I hope to God that you're praying for that, like, you know, miracle play. And then you see the fucking ball get thrown and it's caught. You're like, "Oh my God, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening." The comeback is like, "Oh, we dropped it."
Yes, I think that drop.
I still want to hear from JT. What was all this teasing about JT talking? Please. Hey, JT, you get to talk now. Yeah, but anyway.
Hang on. There's only one way to do this.
There you go.
JT, bring us through your feelings of that game. How did you go through it?
You know, it's just frustration, you know, from the coaching staff to the players to the leaders on this team. It just felt like they were dead on arrival. They just weren't there mentally. They got pushed around physically, and there's no excuse for it. And you can write it off as a bad day, and yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it could be. But for me, it's one of those process versus results. You've got a chance to lock up your division. You don't have to worry next week, and you come out that flat. I don't know how that happens. And you know, the coaching staff deserves blame, but the leaders on the team deserve blame too. Baker Mayfield, Levante David, everyone is accountable for that kind of effort. So it was just, you know, I couldn't be mad about it because it was just, you know, you just roll your eyes and say, okay, we're dead today. We got nothing. Well, we'll see you in Carolina. You know, and if we win in Carolina, you know, that's what matters, you know. Then we talk about playoffs and we talk about next year with Bowles and Baker. But to not lock it up right there and to put yourself in a win and you're in position. And if you lose, then you're looking for a new coach in the offseason potentially. It's just, man, we could have avoided all that. We could have been talking Eagles. We could have been rewatching that game and getting ready for the playoffs. And here we are biting our nails about maybe beating Carolina, who almost beat us the first time around.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the game, so I'm excited about this.
JT, that was eloquent. And you know what, guys? I wish Bowles could see JT because you and Bowles mirror each other a little bit, JT, when it comes to personality, guys. Personality. If JT were to say
I've got a
that to
question to put
Bowles,
in this because before we go no further, do you like JT? Do you like Coach Bowles' personality? Because that's the big question here. Before we go any further.
Honestly, I do. I'm
Okay.
a big Todd Bowles guy. I'm more like that mellow kind of style myself. So, Bowles resonates with me.
I bet it does, JT. This is why it resonates. If you were to say inexcusable, out of all of us here right now, you say inexcusable, that might hurt Bowles' feelings. Like, oh shit, JT said that was inexcusable. Oh
I saw him
shit.
at the game that one
He
time.
might,
He was
I
that-
think Bowles might actually put his head down and go, "No, guys, JT hurt my feelings on that one. I gotta practice on that one." JT said it's inexcusable. That hurt. See, I get you, JT, because you know why? I mirror more of Bruce Arians' personality. Arians would be my guy. I'd be like, "Fuck you, man. Let's get a drink, though. You my guy." Like if I swear, if Arians would have come to me and say, "Yeah, it's ain't going nowhere," I'm falling out crying because that is the kind of guy I like. I like those type of coaches. But you are right though, and I'm glad that you said it because I think your tone with all of us here just want Bowles to understand. Each game is precious, and I know what you're saying, Rick. I like that, Rick. The mindset that you have, I want the players to have it. That is the most important thing. I want the players to say, "Hey guys, we got our ass kicked. Put that shit aside. We going in the Carolina, beat their ass, and we get ready for the playoffs."
Well, why not
Rick,
have that as a fan? Why not?
It's different. It's different because every dude said it. Everybody is a little different. Now,
Yeah,
for
I
me,
think
the
that's how
reason
you're
why
wired as well, your mentality as a person. Some people, like, you got to remember in the UK, and we've seen this in American sports right now. Is you have people so angry at games they're hitting each other for what? So, your logic is different to my logic is different to our experience as a fan as well. I'd say I'm akin between AJ and Rick because I'm quite. It takes me a moment, but I can be quite fiery. I can be quite moody on occasion, but I do tend to get to the what's next kind of quite quickly because that's just the way I deal with shit. In all my facets of life, like so bad happens. I fucking
as a coach, Slick, as a coach, if you lose a game, do you just sit there and keep talking about it and just form?
No.
I mean, no, you just okay. What do we have to do this week?
I mean, don't get me wrong. For the first day, I might be fucking pissed off.
Sure,
Slick and Rick, I coach as well, and not now, but I coached like a few years ago, and like you said, styles are different. No, sometimes I remind them the day of and the next day so they understand how important it is not to have that mindset and not mess up again because it works. Because now they go, okay, I don't ever want to feel this way. Because my first thing is, do you want to feel like this again, players? That's the first question I asked them. And all of them say, Coach AJ, you're right. I don't want to do that again. I shouldn't do that. That's it. Now, yeah, you don't harp on it after, like, put it this way. After tomorrow, if people are still acting crazy, Rick, that's when you go, okay, bro, you had Sunday and Monday. Get over that shit. We are focusing on the Panthers. Because like you said, if I'm a player, there is no reason to talk about the Saints dancing in the locker room.
I agree with you saying, oh, my God, it sucked. And I have no problem with saying we did this wrong, we did this wrong, we did this wrong. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with saying, God, I hate this feeling of losing after a game. I have no problem with any of that. None of that.
Yeah.
I have a problem when all week it's ignore the good things that are happening and talk about the bad. Fire Bowles. Bowles can't do anything right. Instead of saying, well, let's look at the whole picture regarding him. You look out there, there are people who are like, Baker sucks. Baker sucks. Baker will never be anything. Baker sucks.
Well, that's just dumb.
But
at that point,
no. You're doing exactly. That's just dumb because
no. The reason why I say that is there's fans, and then you have people we're all here fans of the game of football. If you can sit here with a flat face and say Baker sucks, that's just dumb as shit. He is having a great statistical
But I
season.
say the same thing about Bowles.
You're right. The difference
Technically,
is now this is where I
two of his best seasons he's ever coached, right? Technically, as a coach.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The only issue that we have with the coaching
With a
and
rookie
let's just
offensive
be real.
coordinator, with a
Yes,
cap differential,
we do.
with a quarterback that everyone writ off as a shit quarterback. Like when you put it all on, the only thing that's in our favor is we're in a shitty division. That's the only thing that's in our favor, right? When you put up against all odds, this team is still about to go into a game, and I'm loving it. I'm still happy because I know we can still finish business. I'm just a bit pissed off that the head coach of the Steelers now has one on me because he's a fucking Saints fan. Thank God he did not message me because I don't think I was in the mood. But I might have got fired.
And the thing is, we're not. Everybody talks about how bad our division is.
It's not massively bad.
No, it's not massively bad.
I saw you commented on someone who was like super, super, super negative. So I put my sense to it, and he commented to me and saying, like, I said, well, if you think about it, if the Buccaneers weren't leading the division right now and there was a team with 13 wins in, for the sake of argument, the Buccaneers are still in the cards for the 7th seed.
Right. Well, no, they are out. If the Buccaneers cannot, they are eliminated from wild card.
No, I get what you're saying, but they have the tiebreaker over the Packers, who are the 7th seed right now. So if there was a team that was 13 and something who was in the NFC, so let's say the Saints are 13 and something, with the record that they have, they would, in theory, be the 7th seed right now. If someone else was leading our division.
I'm not sure how that works because I know that we are literally out of the wild card. We cannot be in the wild card position.
But we have to be because we have a tiebreaker against
for whatever reason. And if you know Greg Allman and Rick Stroud were both talking about the fact we are eliminated from wild card contention. We cannot get a wild card.
So I think what that is the next tiebreaker would be your record versus the conference. And I think Seattle has the same amount of wins as us.
Right.
They have a better record against the conference. So if we lose, they have a tiebreaker over us and we get that.
It's not division record when you're that's only if you're talking about who wins the division. You get a conference record if you're trying to figure out the wild cards. And we do not have a great conference.
So our record versus the conference isn't that great.
Correct.
Right. So we can lose and still win the division if the Saints lose, but we can't win the wild card.
No. If we lose, the winner of the Falcons-Saints game
is going to be
the division winner.
Is going to win the South.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the most important thing. Now, honestly, after yesterday, as pissed off as I was today, Rick, I woke up saying the Bucs. I don't feel like when we go into Carolina, the Bucs are going to lay an egg. I just feel like, and at that point, I was like, statistically, when I gave myself a percentage, I'm like, I'm 95% sure the Bucs are going to go in there and stomp the Panthers. I think what we just want to reiterate, for Bowles and Canals. This is for both. Use what was giving you the success during that 4-game win streak. Use to the strength. You go to the strength of your players and not your scheme. What pissed us off, and what pissed me off yesterday was that we went back to the old. That you, especially on offense, Canales. Why are you trying to establish a run when the passing is what was making us effective and was making us deadly? Why did we get away from that? Where was the creativity when they were doubling Evans? Why didn't you again? And JT, if you honestly look, if you go back and look, each play took too damn long to develop. It was almost as if we were taking a lot of deep shots for no reason when we could have used intermediate routes. I didn't see the offense had no rhythm whatsoever. So that's what was going on. That's what was pissing me off with Canales. I'm like, Canales, you know what to do. Why are you not doing that? This is not the time to deter. Slick has said this. This game was literally like us last season when we went against the Steelers. You literally are killing in the passing and you're trying to run. when that's not our forte. I honestly think the Bucs can be a deadly running team when they have a lead, and it starts with the pass. Now, JT, I'm asking you, did you see? Am I onto something? You see that kind of mentality yesterday on offense?
Yeah, it did feel like early Dave Canales. Like there was no. It felt like there was no plan. It felt like what were you trying to establish this game? You didn't feel like you were running with a purpose. Didn't feel like you were trying to throw with a purpose. It was just a random sequence of plays a lot of time. Where I think over this winning streak they had put together, we had seen a team that throws the ball effectively, which opens up the run because we want to be a running football team, but we're not a running football team like we were with Jensen and Marpet and that strong offensive line. We are a team that has to throw it to kind of open up some creases, lighten that box a little bit, and then throw a couple of passes to White, and then when you're not expecting him, he punches you up the gut, and that's where he makes you hurt.
I just want to hit this because as AJ, we weren't prepared, and that's on coaching. You can prepare all you want. If your player's not going to dial in, it don't fucking matter. I can give you 50 guys, and you can turn around and go, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and you can put a fucking PowerPoint presentation with fucking video and strippers in it. No one's going to fucking care if they don't care. They have to want to give a shit. If you don't give a shit, maybe the players had too many fucking things. Well, you know what? Got my New Year's party, probably going to wrap up the division, and if we don't, we've got next week anyway, so...
Ooh, wait a minute, Slick. Say that again. That was brilliant. Because you know what player that reminds me of that? This guy and Rick, he is the what the fuck of yesterday. McCullum and his tackling, Slick. You are a defensive person. The way that he tried to make tackles was one of the most.
Tackling in general for this team was poor. Just general tackling was poor. But someone else has just said, so where was the adjustment? Well, you saw the adjustment with the defense because the defense only gave up 6 points in the second half. So the adjustment was obviously made.
And they also scored 13 or 15 or whatever that was.
Exactly. So they had 17 points. Yeah, you could argue they could be a bit more vanilla on offense and what have you, but I don't think they were. I think they knew that only being up by 17 isn't enough. So I think they were still playing all the way to the end. So the offense did things. They just did not finish.
Up above there, James Matz said, Rick, I want to understand this because
is this one?
Yeah, this is the stuff that confuses me.
Go on,
Rick. You be the glass full all you want, and look at other teams move on in the playoffs because you won't be looking at the Bucs.
Imagine if you're an Eagles fan right now.
Right. Shit. This is my point. I mean, it's like, you've already got the loss in the playoffs done. It's already done.
Well,
that's very much. I'm done with this.
What are you doing in this chat?
Why are you watching next week?
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, I agree, and it's like this. Only thing is, and the Eagles right now. If you think Buck fan base is pissed, the Eagles fan base, God help them, because did you see that they had the
Seahawks, Cowboys, Niners?
Who would you rather be a fan of right now?
I'm always going to pick my team.
Well, first of all, yeah, and besides, I don't ever want to be an Eagles
get
like
7 points close.
Just, yeah.
They lost to the Jets.
Eagles are just, yeah. And here's the thing.
I'm not writing us off in the playoffs. Sorry.
I'm not writing us off
anyway because
you're not. That comment was.
No. I'm just saying, personally as well. Like, I can't because I have to believe. Because what's the point in watching football and going, well, we're only going to get dicked when we get there? It's kind of pointless.
Exactly my whole point about all this. Thank you, Slick. It's my whole point in all this. What am I? If I hate my coach, hate my players, hate my team, hate everything, hate the plays that are called, if I'm just sitting there all game long, spending 3 hours on my day off, hating, what the hell am I doing with my free time?
Yeah, you got it. And I want to say this, Slick, and Rick. Slick was onto something with this because they said Worth said it best. They were feeling themselves, listening to the national press, while the Saints were laying in the cut to kick their ass. Now, I do agree with that because Slick said it. What if those guys were saying, "Fuck it, guys, I got a New Year's party," and here's the thing,
mentality
Slick said
thing,
something.
potentially.
In the back
I mean,
of their
we don't
minds,
know.
what
We're all hypothesizing right now, aren't we? We're like, why could this happen? You know, we had like
yeah.
JT had it written down, and he's like, yeah, guys, all we have to do is win and you're in. Win and you're in against a team that you don't like pretty much. It's almost like set up to be like, yeah, we've done it. But then it didn't happen. And not only did it happen, it was a clusterfuck of what went wrong. It was literally an A to Z of how you can fuck up a game was pretty much what happened.
And we did, and it was just as if, as you said, Slick, some of the players, I didn't see the dial in. Like you said, for some of them, they had the mind of, hey, if we lose, guys, we'll turn it on again next week in Carolina. It's not good, but we still got it. It felt like
part of it be that we were playing a division rival that came out
for sure, but it was just like
amped up. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You ran into a buzzsaw. Could none of that have anything to do with it?
A little bit of it, but if you look at it, when they did make the adjustments, like Slick said, it wasn't like the Saints were dominating in the second half either. I just think the Bucs.
And technically, it's a championship game. It's a championship game.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Right. And I know we could technically segue it to the next week, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Is maybe they were going, well, we don't have to really worry about it being a championship game until next week. If people, if you got 50% of your roster is thinking like that, don't matter how good your fucking leaders are. It does not matter. Some people are guys who got their eyes on something else and they're thinking about the New Year's Eve party. I'm telling you, as I said in the post-game show, that New Year's Eve party is so much fucking sweeter when you are divisional champions, when you've just fucked the Saints for the fucking two years in a row, and you can turn around and
guys know that you're talking about the struggle. Zion McCollum, things like that. They're young guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And they will learn.
This is when you learn. So they went out there, got punched in the mouth, and now how do they respond?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you're right.
I'm not mad that they got punched in the mouth.
Oh,
I'll be mad
if I'm mad about it.
Yeah, we're mad. We just want them. It's like this. We're bitching at it right now. Well, I know I am. It's just the way that I'm doing it. I want to reinforce that, Bowles. I'm talking shit right now. Please don't let this happen again. This is a time where I
don't want to feel this pain.
Yeah, right. I'll go with that.
Yeah, don't let this happen again. Like I would tell him, if Zion were to get on here right now, I'll tell him to his face, I don't want to see that type of piss poor effort.
We've seen good play from this guy.
But listen, the old guy, listen, back in my day, when your team lost, you were a fan anyway. You loved them anyway. Okay, you didn't run online on social media and try to act like, let me tell you, I know more. Let me tell you, I'm the guy
they just didn't have. They just went to the barbecue or the bar or the whatever social convention was at the bar and complained about it.
Not like now, man. Not like now. There's a lot more prostrate
millions and millions of people. That's the only difference.
Right. And there's people now posture impose. They posture impose. I
know more football than you because I said this team's going to suck.
Right.
Well
and
done.
Nobody wants to be embarrassed on social media. Nobody wants to be embarrassed on social media. So when you sit there and say, this is my team, I love them, and then they get their butt kicked, you want to run out there and you want to be out there like you're one of them so you're not embarrassed instead of just going, oh, shit, that was embarrassing.
I think, but JT said it best. What you don't want to see is inexcusable play. It's different.
I think you're going to see it. I think you get inexcusable play from the Eagles, and they were one of the tip teams. You know, so I think it's frustrating. Like from the fan experience, right? It is frustrating to have what happened last week happen, right? And thank God I can call it last week. Because we're already in next week, right? So that's we're already gearing up for it. And I said in the post-game show, people like AJ, they're going to be in their feelings. I was in my feelings a little bit. Maybe not much as AJ was. And I knew AJ, when he came on the show, was automatically going to be in his feelings because I know what he's like. Because I seen, like I said, the last 4 weeks, there wasn't many complaints, especially the last 2 weeks. He posted fuck all fuck all and fuck all. And then all of a sudden, inbox, boom. Micah's dropped, AJ's in, he's turned up, and that's just, I think that's just the way he rolls with stuff, and it's the way a lot of fans do. And I get where you're coming. I love the way your mindset of the game is, because I'm the same kind of thing. I get a bit in my feelings, and then by Monday I'm like, okay, let's get it up, because I love this team. Because if you spend, like you said, if you spend your time negative, why would I want to buy a Bucs fucking jersey if I fucking hate it?
This is my point. When you're winning, when we won 4 in a row and you're complaining, well, we're not winning by enough. I want to dominate.
Hey, you said it best when you did a show after we won the Super Bowl, and they said if Jameis Winston was in that game, we would have won by more.
Yeah. I mean,
it's one of those. Now I'm not, and I get it. There are people out there. I'm one of those people where the only reason I want to see the Bucs dominate. I just want to see the Bucs learn from this. Each game, I want them to take something from it and a positive. Even as bad as this game was,
if you lose and you learn, you didn't lose. You didn't. If you lose and you learn and you take that with you, you never actually lost. Truly. And that's and people can turn around and go, no, that's a wrong mindset. It's a loser's mentality. No. That's not accepting loss. That's looking at loss and what can you gain from it? Because there's always something to gain from a loss.
Here's where.
Agreed.
Here, let me give you the negative. I don't understand where was the horizontal game? What happened? It went away. The horizontal game stopped. Okay, we weren't throwing anything in the flat.
Nope.
All right, where were the screens?
Everyone was up.
Right. Where was the game that we had been successful with? And I get it. You look at the defense, and let me tell you something. They're adjusting, and they know you've been playing the horizontal game. So if they're doing things to try to take that away from you, you're going to try and do something. I get it. I understand all of that. Okay. Why were there, that's why we weren't getting Chris Godwin's screens and all that. I get it. And listen, the coaches were crap this game. All right. The players were worse than the coaches in this game.
Talk about dog shit.
And I get all of that. And I agree with all of that. And you guys keep saying I'm a half full guy and I'm Mr. Positive. I'm not stupid. I see this crap.
No. But you have a good.
Not you.
It's a good. Okay. No, I get that because I'm looking at some of these and going, I don't. James Mascott. And thank you for coming on to the because you're always on the post game show, James. You never come on to this one, so I'm glad you come up here. So I appreciate your time and the effort that you put in, and just like a fan, we appreciate what you put in.
Right.
I don't believe because of these coaching and scheme. Right. This is a question I asked and no one answered it, so I'm going to ask it again. To truly understand something, you need to know what it is. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What is Coach Bowles' scheme? Because everyone's telling me scheme shit, but not one person has told me what his scheme is. So tell me, what is Coach Bowles' scheme? I know what it is because I study football. That's why I'd love to be on his staff because his scheme is something I've never seen before. That's why I like Coach Bowles' scheme. And I've spoken to AJ about this, about why they do the cushion coverage. It's for a moment, I had to diagnose a play, and it took me a minute just because the corner was so fucking far back. And I was like, okay, what coverage are they actually in? Because he came down. He wasn't going high. He was playing down. So it made me think. And if it can make me think, it can make a quarterback think. I'm not saying it works or it's a great thing to do all the time, but there's a reason for it. And I always said to you guys,
defense every freaking year.
Yes. So, like I said, I would love to be in that room and understand the whys and hows and the whens we do these things. Because I've said to AJ many times, AJ does not believe in the coverage at all. Straight up, he's got the pillow, it's ready to roll. He's got the cushion, it's ready to fucking roll. But I understand it has a place, and I think he kind of agrees with me on this. It has its place, but I'd love to know more why, because trust me, these are NFL level coaches. There's reasons why they do things. They're not just dumb idiots that they pulled off the streets and gone, well, you can't go from being a good defensive coordinator to being a dumb defensive coordinator. He's still defensive coordinating, calling the plays and designing everything.
This is why I get so pissed off in the Facebook fan groups with all these guys that are furniture salesmen, whatever, okay, that are out there. Oh, they need to do this. Shut up.
I think it's just how
I mean,
you feel. Like
not
you think
literally
you
shut
know
up. But
something.
the thing is, you don't know what's going on in the meeting rooms. You don't know whose ankle's sore. You don't know who has said, "Coach, I'd rather." You know, what if I'm making this up?
Who understood the play call? Because I give you
Rashad
that
White
time.
says, "I want to run between the tackles." I think I can do that this week. I think, you've got all these different things that are happening that you don't know about. I don't know about. They know about. You got the GM telling you one thing. The Glazers telling you something. You've got all of these moving parts that we are not privy to. All of these gears are turning. And then you flip on your TV with your bag of Cheetos and your boxer shorts and t-shirt and think you freaking know. I mean, and this is the part that I'm like, okay, it's a fun part of being a fan where we can sit there and go, why are you still running at 17-0?
There's a reason for it, but I don't know what. I still don't know what it is.
Hallelujah, that's true. And maybe they're sitting there saying Baker's hurting and we don't know about it and they don't want to give it up. Okay, maybe there's something wrong with
There are
Baker.
those little
We don't
things.
know why they're not doing certain things. We don't know if, we don't know all the details.
Also, you got to take into account they had a scheme that worked against the Steelers, and I said this in the post-game show, and AJ quite liked this. Is they had a scheme they had a play calling system that worked against them, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was very akin to that. It just didn't work.
Right.
Yeah, that's where the frustration will come in, because that's where we were like, well, where's the adjustments on that? Because I can tell you, I knew that the offense was going to sputter even more when we came out in the second half, and they were looking for Otten for a deep shot, because the reasons that I heard him say, well, they were covering the deep because they didn't want Evans to beat him deep, and they were. I'm like, okay, and as you said, they were taking away some of the horizontals. I said yes, but where was your ideas to adjust to that? Why didn't you use Rashad White more earlier in the game in the short passes rather than trying to run
Which he
between
has
the tackles?
done in
Now,
the
you
past,
said
where he like the run game, he's abandoned the run game and just gone to like those like little pop plays to him, and yeah.
And you know why the Saints are always giving us usually a hard time? And this is something where, Slick, you've heard me say this plenty of times. When you play aggressive, that middle of the damn field is typically going to be open. Now, JT, if you go back and look at it, the Saints typically try to always play the Bucs in man coverage. And what do they like to do, especially with Evans? They man jam and press him to disrupt
Because they know they got the safety over the top.
Right, but this is where Otten would be the short intermediate guy where I'm going to get that ball out quick. Palmer would be the guy where I'm throwing to him in stride rather than trying to make him a jump ball guy. He still needs time to develop. So I just think, in my opinion, like Byron and Canales, when they see aggressive like defenses, they kind of go into turtle mode. Like, oh shit, guys, let's be careful. Let's play not to turn it over. And when they play that way, that's why the offense goes back to being sputtering. When we played Green Bay and Jacksonville, we didn't care, and we were the aggressive one. Now, JT, what is your take on that?
I think that's my biggest criticism of Todd Bowles is being too conservative. He does go into that shell. And, I wish he would keep the gas on more. Like a lot of people criticize him for his blitz in the playoff game against the Rams that, left Antoine on an island. But I like that mentality. Put the pressure on. Maybe not in that exact spot, but I'd rather be too aggressive than not aggressive. I know it, but, we all have philosophies that we live by that we want to see our guys do. I would rather see him be a little too aggressive than conservative and kind of just go into that shell. And
it doesn't suit him as a person because he's playing so aggressive. So it's kind of like he's going against his own nature.
Well, I think it's because of the players and the lack of depth and the different things when you got
very
players
possible
on the field the entire game because we don't have depth.
It's
like
very
we've had
possible
in years past. because I mean we had to get rid of a lot of depth because of the salary cap. You end up with guys that are on the field constantly. You can't play the same kind of football that you can when you've got the depth.
You know what? And I think you might be onto something there.
Honestly, though,
generally could be.
I've been really impressed with this depth more than I expected to be this year.
I think so is Todd Bowles.
Yeah,
I think he's going. Wow,
okay. Isn't he still the highest blitzing coordinator in football? Blitzing defensive-minded football right now.
I think Minnesota is.
I was going to say Minnesota.
Flores, but I think Todd Bowles is top 3.
Yeah.
So he does like to push the envelope, but in those moments where it's kind of teetering, should I do it? Should I not do it? It always feels like he is more conservative with that.
Mm-hmm.
And
he
that's
does
what
it
I wanted to do
the
at the
wrong
most.
time. Yeah, and JT, you're right. He does it sometimes at the wrong time. Like yesterday, when he was blitzing with the corners, it would be nice if you're going to do that. If you can blitz with the corner, I had no problem with that. But why are you giving your
it's
other
only
corners
the wrong time when it doesn't work?
Well, no, it's the wrong time when it's not set up right. Now, JT and Slick, you can adjust it. You can attest to this as a coordinator. Blitzing is fine, but if you're going to give me all that space, it's going to be easier for me to pick up.
You're always technically creating space once you blitz. That's a fact of life, right? Because you're having less people either to drop in the zone or you're having less people to pick up people. So it all depends on the personnel package. So, for example, let's say you went against a team that runs 2-by-1 and they got 2 running backs, right? Blitzing off the edge on a single wide receiver isn't a bad idea because you're not losing anything on that side. So it's a little bit, it's things like that. But if you were to blitz on and you overload blitz on the other side, you've now got 2 wide receivers. So you go, we're going to blitz the corner, we're going to blitz the outside backer. You've got a safety there that's on an island and a middle linebacker who's got to go up and really kind of stretch himself over, which is never going to happen. I think the thing for this defense we've really got to look at, there's a good telling stat that came out, was how much tight ends have kicked our ass. That needs to be sorted. From a defensive mindset, that needs to be sorted. Because I don't know the name of the Carolina Panthers tight end, and I expect not to by the end of the game.
Petey Pablo.
But he may have a bigger name if they don't sort this shit out.
His name is Petey Pablo. Petey Pablo. they get the gist. But JT, I know you got to wrap things up, but give me your moments on this Saints game. We're gonna throw that away and just give me your hopes and expectations for the Panthers game and where people can find you and stuff, of course.
My final thoughts on the Saints game. That was 2023. It's 2024 now. It is winning you're in, losing you're out. And really, this will define the Bucs season. This will define Todd Bowles' future. Could define Baker Mayfield's future. It's all going to come down to this. And I know you guys have all said it. If you can't beat the Panthers, you don't deserve it. The coach doesn't deserve the job. The players don't deserve to make it. It's done. And we move on to the next page in Buccaneers history. So I'm expecting a comfortable win, even against a team that we struggled with. We got all the talent. And I think if we can squeak into the playoffs, if the coaching staff can get their game plan right and they can have their best run of the year like we did this last month, we can make some noise. This team is as talented as anyone. They're as talented as Dallas. They're as talented as Detroit. The only team I'd put them a tier down below is San Francisco in terms of just pure talent. The coaching staff has to utilize it to take us to where we want to go. If they can, they stay. If they don't, they're out. It's that simple.
Love that. Thank you, JT. And where can we find you? What you got going on next?
You can find my written work over at Bucs Report, of course. Creamsicle Chronicle podcast, Fridays at 9:30 typically. My sports gambling podcast I do with my team from around the block. Those are Wednesdays at 9:30. It was a 2-2 week for me, but I bet against Michigan because I had to hedge my bet emotionally. So I'll count it as a 3-1 week in my head.
I never bet the Bucs. Yeah, I get you.
I can't.
I don't want to do it because I get too angry then because money's on involved.
Right. If anything, I like to bet against them. It's like, okay, we win, I'm happy. We lose,
Maybe
I
that's
make
why
money.
AJ's always pissed off. He's put money in it. AJ's like,
Oh,
for fuck's
no.
sake, I just wanted to win, motherfucker.
Oh no, I can't do that. I won't do that to myself. I'll do a couple dollars here and there, but no, I don't bet big money like I used to. No,
Is sports gambling legal down there in Florida yet?
Oh yeah.
What's up?
Is it legal down there in Florida yet to do sports gambling?
Yes.
It's Florida. Anything is legal.
Yeah. No. There's the
Almost.
What's the no? It's legal. What's the app? What's a casino in Tampa?
One casino can do it, kind of thing.
I know you
Yeah.
can on their app. I'm sure you can elsewhere. I'm just telling you. I can't think of this. What Hard Rock? Is that? Yeah, that's the big casino in Tampa, I think. Right. So it's they've got an app. I don't know.
There you go. Well, JT, much appreciated for coming on, and I know you've got to get away, so bask in the Michigan victory, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you soon after hearing about a Tampa Bay Buccaneer victory. Pleasure for having you on, brother. I'll catch you soon.
Appreciate
Take
it,
care of
guys.
yourself, JT.
Good luck, Michigan.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Anybody?
Oh man, but yeah, I'll say this. Yeah, it's done. It was last year. I'm not focusing on that anymore. I just hope that the team sees the error. They understand. They
I
know.
think I'm angry and hungry.
Yeah, I want this
They
to
take it all out on the fucking Panthers because that's what I need to see.
And they can, and that's why I said if Bowles gets down there and he gets it right again, if he stop even a win, whatever. But if he stops this team, Rick, you said it. A lot of people are going to forget and go, "Oh shit, 35-0." Okay,
Everyone will forget everything if we win a game in the playoffs. It will be done. No one
in a year. Nobody's gonna. No, I'm saying no matter what, we're not gonna remember week 17. I mean, we will because we're kind of different level, right? We're a different breed than the average fan. Nobody's gonna care about week 17. When week 18's coming up. I mean,
you're right.
And you win in week 18. Now you got a playoff game. We're all going to be focused on the playoff game. And I promise you, during that playoff week, the only people who are going to talk about the New Orleans games are idiots.
Yeah, more than likely. No,
you know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get people going, "Oh, if we could have just lost that last game, we would have got a higher draft pick." Probably going to get
Right. This is why I feel like I'm in this spin cycle of just like, bitch, about the coach. I've heard it going back to we just we've had this one for 2 years. Time to get another one.
It's for me, like I agree with you on that because it's consistency. It takes time to bog down a system, a scheme, not just a scheme, but like a system. We were all talking about like how Dave Canales was very poor in that patch of games.
Yeah,
where we didn't do a heck of a lot and we were struggling a lot. And then it kind of got better and it got better. Yeah, we were playing some poor players. And then we had the game that we all wanted to see from Dave Canales. Yeah. This was like I wouldn't say a legacy game for him, but it was more like you could see it, the buy-in, you could see it worked. You could see everything was right in that game. Offensively, we were there. Defensively, we're there. It was the best performance we'd put in all season long. And we're like, okay, this is what this team is capable of. And I said multiple times that I saw the same thing with Coach Bowles back in 2019, and they kept on mentioning it in 2020 when we signed Brady. They were like, this defense, don't be surprised that like the last 6 games they were this good. It was because they had a stupid quarterback who kept on giving the ball to everybody else. And that was the narrative of that like 6 stretch. If people remember correctly, the Buccaneers were primed to go in the playoffs. They had 2 games to play. They only had to win one of them, and they would add a wild card appearance. But what did they do? Jameis Winston does what Jameis Winston does and delivers us the losses with
interest. For the love of God, please don't rewrite that story this year.
Oh, no. We saw that. I think that interception is where Arian said, okay, I'm not doing this shit.
And his post-game press conference
from his scheme that there was going to be a progression, that he was going to get better. Okay, yeah, early on he's going to throw picks because that's what you do in a no risk it, no biscuit offense. That's what is expected. You're going to be uber aggressive. Sometimes you're going to get it wrong. But as the scheme beds in and as you start to understand it, this was said by Carson Palmer himself. He's like, I would expect in year 2 that Jameis Winston would have got better. Obviously, they moved on and saw what was behind curtain number 2, and it worked out very well.
Oh, absolutely.
And we took a guy who everyone said was a system quarterback and turned him into a no biscuit quarterback. So I suppose that's another one of
exactly. Oh, absolutely. Now, and go back to what you guys said. The Bucs, I'm not for other people out there, you're tripping if you don't agree with this. The Bucs can still be a dangerous team in the playoffs, and I'm speaking into an existence. I do think that they're going to go in there and beat the brakes off the Panthers. Now we just got to decide, are they going to be playing Dallas or Philly? If we play Philly, like you said, them feathers are ruffled right now. If the Bucs play their cards right, it can get ugly for Philly. Remember when we played them 2 years ago in the playoffs and we took care of them? It could be. Tell me that
knocked us out of the game the last time we played them, so it's not like they're gonna fucking beat the brakes off us this time.
Nope.
The Todd Bowles defense has been there the whole fucking time, has been able to keep us within games the whole way through. As long as the offense can just be, what has AJ always preached?
Average. Be
right?
average.
It doesn't have to be the greatest offense known to mankind. This defense can do that. We know this. But if the offense can take that step that we've seen in recent games, not the most recent game, obviously, but in recent games, if plays got made, how many times could you turn around and say in that Saints game, if that ball was thrown with just a little bit more velocity, or if that ball was held with a bit more security rather than an inch away from his chest, which you should never ever do. Yeah. But hey, that football is football; it'll happen.
Yeah.
And then you got the Trey Palmer one. You could be talking about a completely different game if some of these of all 3 of those hit, and we'd all be going, the Buccaneers were fantastic. They went down a little bit, they clicked it into overgear, and they won the game. Imagine the story that would have been behind that. But what happened? It was a clusterfuck, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. We were we were having penalties left, right, and center. We couldn't get anything going. And we were just relying in the second half. We were just relying on that defense just to keep our nose clean, so we weren't completely blooded. And then we got a little bit of respect by a touchdown here and what have you. But I'll tell you what, the best thing that sums up that game is the 2-point conversion being caught, and then finding like a couple of minutes after that he's been taken off the board. You're like, oh, you couldn't make it up. You could not make that up. I remember sitting there going, oh my God. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I agree with the call. Like it against the rules. It is exactly what it is. However, it was such a Bucs thing of that game. That was a Bucs life game where you were just like,
and also that hit that punk ass Honey Badger put. He should be Honey Rodent put on Baker was unacceptable. I was pissed. That was unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, if he just keeps his pad, if he just keeps himself high and just kind of puts their arms up, he's going to collide with him, and then I'll be all okay with it. But Rick is yawning. I think we need to get him to bed.
Rick, please tell everybody where they can find you. And
I think he's hyperventilating.
Where you can find me tomorrow night on Bucs Live, and you can also find me at the Bucs game this week. I imagine I'll be giving you a video call during the pre-game show from the stadium. But I mean, we'll see how that works out. I will also tell you, see all that gray? Smell that gray? You know what that means here in Charlotte? If it's rainy and cold, I'll be calling from right here. I will not be at the game. Yes, I'm going to be that guy, rooting as hard as anybody else, screaming and cheering and, hollering. My prediction for the game, I'm going to save for tomorrow night. It may or may not be what you guys think, but I want you guys to know I am not all sunshine and roses. There was crap that happened in this week's game. There were some bad calls I don't understand. I think that when that Bowles plays too conservative until it's a must-win situation, and then they cut loose. I also think that I also think Canales has some of those tendencies as well. They play conservative until they don't have to. I mean, until they're forced not to. And the thing is, this week they're forced not to. This week they're in a situation where you have to you have to win. You have to win. Now, I believe Bowles will be back next year. I know this is going to disappoint a lot of people. I believe Bowles will be back next year, whether you like it or not, whether they win or not. Yes, I said that. Whether they win or not, I think Bowles will be back next year. I think he knew before this year started that he would be back next year. And that's why they did the entire salary cap hit now. I think when that decision was made, they knew. I think that's why he was okay going with a first-year coordinator who had never done this. I think he already knew. I think the plan was in place. And the thing is, the plan was not just for this year. We think this week they've got to, they're playing chess. We're playing checkers, okay? They know what the plan is with salary cap, with signing people, how they're going to, there are people who spend all day, when you're at work, well, they're at work. And when they're at work, they're figuring out what to do next year and the year after that. They've got a plan in place. So I know it's going to disappoint some of you guys. I know some of you do not like the temperament of Bowles on the sidelines. You don't like some of what you see. What I want to see out of Bowles is Todd Bowles with a coordinator that's got another year under his belt, maybe a quarterback that's got that year under his belt, and a full salary cap where they can go get the players. Imagine this team with free agents. Imagine where we'd be. I mean, guys, he's you know what he's done to this season? He's turned it up. AJ.
I like it. I like it. Hey, by all means, then he needs to turn that intensity back up in Carolina, which I hope he does, and I have a feeling, and he'll do it. And after that, playoffs, he gets a playoff win.
That was a nice thing you said, though, Rick, about the whole, he turns it when he needs to turn it up. And I think you agree. I think sometimes he might be a bit premature in doing it, but I think you are onto something. I think he does go into – I've said this for the last couple of years, that Coach Bowles usually figures out a team by halftime. And that's why you see their second half scoring usually dim down a lot, because he tends to have control of the game. And that might be part of the conservative. There have been times, obviously, where teams have gone to the jugular and taken advantage of that, and he's not adapted quick enough. You can argue that case for sure. I like that. That was nicely put.
I'll go ahead and tell you this. This game will be over by halftime. Now, you ready?
I hope
this
so.
This game will be over by halftime, one way or the other. Okay?
Ooh, I like that.
One way or the other. Okay? But it's this. They're not going to sit around and play this chess match and say, all season long, it's been, let's stick around, and, at the end, it'll come down to the last few plays, and we'll see what happens. They can't afford that. So they're going to go balls to the wall. They're going to go all out, and it's either going to pay off or it's going to blow up. So this is going to be a fun week. Strap yourself in, because I may be totally wrong, but I think this game's over by halftime.
I hope you're right. I'm putting
one
all
way
that
or the other.
If that happens,
no,
one way or the other. Yeah, and
that may be bad.
Right. If but either way though, that's just if it's over the other.
There's something about the team giving the best shot that they can. That you gotta respect that. When you just go out, you see your team go. I think that's what a lot of people kind of felt like was missing from this week that's just passed, right?
Right.
It didn't feel like the Buccaneers came in swinging. It
They
didn't
did.
feel like they were playing that they wanted it, and it was like, wow, like what does it take for this team to go? No, we want it. Did they have the one eye on this game that's coming up, and they went, well, we don't have to worry about this. We'll eye up next week because next week's the decider. Next week won't be as tough, and we can just fucking kick the shit out of that team and finish on a high. I don't know.
Well,
But
you play conservative when you don't trust your depth, and I think that's much of the tale, the unwritten tale about this season. And I wish that JT was still here because I'd try to get him to write an article about this. But
three
I think
guys on this team are rookies on defense.
Only 3 or 3 were drafted.
Three rookies on this team right now. Sorry, that are starters.
Izzian, Diaby, and Cansey. That's it?
Yeah. So on defense.
Okay. All right.
Then you got
there was one
Cody
more.
Mark on the other side.
Yeah. Okay.
And Trey Palmer technically.
Right. So
that's something they've said in the broadcast a couple of times, is that there's no other team in the NFL that has had to rely on their rookie class.
Right. And they don't have depth. So like San Francisco for years has played themselves out of the playoffs by getting injuries.
Yep.
The Bucs haven't done that. They when they went on the 4-game win streak was the moment they had to.
Mm-hmm.
When the backs were against the wall, if you don't win this week, you're out.
Yep.
And
I agree.
We're back in the same situation right now.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be. Listen, they might not win by 30. Okay, the Bucs may not win by 30 because once they do get up by 15, 18 points, they are gonna again go back in the shell because you got to get ready for Philly, and you don't have depth. And that's
right. So do you think? So more than likely, we're playing Philly. So I like that. I like that you're saying that. So more than likely it's Philly, not Dallas.
Right.
Okay. I like that. But we'll let you go because we're gonna get ourselves out of here. But Rick, always a pleasure, man. You take care of yourself, and as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
See you soon, brother.
And guys, again, thank you. We had to get that shit off our chest from last year, but it is 2024. We believe that this team is going to take care of business. Now, if they don't, you'll be hearing from us. But again, thank you for tuning in on the Aftermath on 102.9 Game Broad Street South Radio. AJ Turnup here. You can always check me out again on It's About Bucking Time. Go to my AJ Turnup page on Instagram. Go to my website. Got good stuff. Check out the link. And as always, go Bucs and take care of yourself, my man Slick.
One day these are going to get higher and higher, and you'll be like, damn, Slick, you've been working out.
Exactly. I will. I know it will. Keep up the good work.
All right, brother. Catch you soon. Okay, guys, that is pretty much the end of the show, and I appreciate everyone who's commented, and not everyone's comment gets to get put up on, and I do apologize for that. We do, when there's a few more people on screen, it gets a little bit more convoluted in the content that we can put out. So I do try and get out, and Christopher Cole, I go and put this one in. They were blitzing, just not getting where they wanted. Yeah, absolutely. And they were getting the ball out quickly. Then you need to adjust to that. Maybe you play a hybrid of zone, more hybrid of a zone and Jesus Christ, my brain's not working. A hybrid of zone and man combined. So your corners are locked on men, and everyone else is in zone. Yeah, something different. And that's very exotic. I'll put that there. That's very exotic. Guys, pleasure for everyone commenting, and don't think if we ever talk about your comment, and in some cases it might tick one person off or tick another person off, and we appreciate everything you put in because you're fans, you love this team, you want this team to succeed, and you have your own principles and philosophies of why you think they should win and how they should win and how you feel about it. There's nothing in between. You've just met multiple different guys who have very different opinions on what's happening with this team. So without further ado, Bucs on me, Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!